This one's called In a Marine Light, which is after the book by Raymond Carver. I don't know if you're familiar with Raymond Carver, the writer. An American blue-collar writer of poems and short stories. But it has a marine quality, but I also like the connotations of his writing and it being handmade, because he's very much into the working class life. This painting was in a series that I did of works that started as stripes. So you'll see in the background there's 9 stripes. What I was doing, I've retained some on paper. I was using colour, contrast, different tonalities to create works that were relational. So elements might play against each other or work in tandem, so they became like little families of clusters of colour, and they might move in and out with of the picture plane, so the red probably projects further than this turquoise. So there was a low-level movement. And initially these larger compositions, you can probably see that this works in and out against the light against the dark. Just has a basic illusionistic movement forward and back. So in principle, this painting started the other way up. It was landscape, and it was getting to a stage for me where I'd resolved a lot of the relationships and movements that I wanted within the painting, and it was establishing a harmony, and then I felt for a change that I would like to go for an overall feeling. So I painted it all out, and I took the dominant colour that I enjoyed, and I started to work the whole area up until it became something more continuous, but still establishing to a certain degree the initial idea of the stripes, but doing away with the illusionistic pictorial movement, the back and forth, and the relational quality that these clusters of lines would have with each other, where they generally sort of just move gently forward and back. Influences from Romanticism, 19th century painting, the sort of spiritual illusions of night sky, deep blue. It has that kind of resonance that you get with Caspar David Friedrich and the 19th century Romantic school, Samuel Palmer, Turner, those kind of painters that I did look at in my youth. It also has a relationship probably to mid-century American painting. The initial impulse for me to paint stripes was the influence of Agnes Martin, who last year had a major retrospective at Tate Modern, a long-term background in meditation practice, and it also started out with a consciously different emotional feeling tone, and as it resolves itself to this, I felt that it had a meditative quality, and long and projects upwards, as it were. This has more of the landscape feel in its groundedness, its earthed quality. I was interested in working the cadmium, so yellows, reds, oranges, in and around the idea of trying to create heat and again emotional feeling tone that is involved in colours that are associated with hot temperament, anger, etc. But I wanted it to settle into a meditative quality. Also, in relationship to this painting's much more obviously crafted with the brush. So this one shows less of the human hand because I wanted it to move towards a spiritual impulse, so a less embodied impulse, whereas this, I felt I wanted it to display its emotions in a more intimate way through enervated brushwork and that tendency to paint closely. So this is a smaller brush, there's a lot of movement in this painting, where this is achieved in a kind of an overall way, the end strokes are quite fluid and large and put on with a very large brush and very wet. This painting requires a lot of forward and back motion, so it becomes quite intimate. The seeing process, it becomes a different form of body movement because it's up close, it's back. It goes this way, it grounds it more. And it also, when the stripes become upright, they become almost symbolic of people because we're used to that form of a person. So an upright stripe, when these things become relational like this, it could be perceived that if this is a harmonious group, then this person, if it represents a person, is the point of contrast, is the individual, if this was a family unit for argument's sake. So I feel that the horizontal impact is fundamentally different to a vertical impact, because this becomes hierarchical, whereas these forms are equivalents, and what differentiates them is their tonality, their colour, and how they are grouped. So clearly there's two of these to one of these. This becomes quite different with this emotional weight placed at the bottom. Yeah. So this is why I wanted to diminish the differentiation between the stripes and to try and harmonise and to bring the lighter elements towards this, so that I think clearly alludes to landscape and horizon, sky, earth kind of feeling about it. Again. So I do these colour studies to try and feel my way into an emotional feeling tone from colour and colour relation, which I then try to meditate upon it to a certain extent. Into highly saturated, colourful painting that I thought was just too much. So I've more or less soaked it in white, and then with an inch brush just loosely painted this grid. What this painting does for me is it has an element of illusionism in the sense that the eye tends to pick up on a dominant colour, usually this sort of pinky red, and if you spend a little time observing it, the loose painting, the imperfection of the grid, which we see through the sensation of vision, our perception starts to correct the little squares and starts to build little frames within the wider picture, because that's the focal point that we're concentrating, or on one foot, anything, just to change, because if what you're doing is coming completely from the body, which is not just this concentrated hand thing, if there is a tension in something, suddenly you're conscious of balance. Does that enter the painting? You're conscious of openness. Does that enter the painting? If I sit on a chair to paint this bit, and then I stand on the same chair to paint this bit, what happens? Maybe nothing, but sometimes fundamentally something different. Because this is closer to the experience of a child. This is closer to the experience of someone 6'7". I don't have that experience.